All right, guys, so I want to do a quick video on just NIO specifically, since it's one of our biggest positions. I'm going to do a top-down approach, weekly, daily, show you a bunch of indicators, and show you what I'm thinking. Okay? So on the left side, we have 2020, and then we have where we're at right now in 2025. I've been hunting this algorithm for about 3 months, and it's been playing flawlessly, right? And I just want to point everything out, right? So this is what we got. Okay, so on the left side, we have a multi-year descending resistance. That's the green line. On the right side, we have a multi-year descending resistance. That's the green line. Okay, we can see that around the right shoulder of this inverse head and shoulders, the left one's a lot cleaner. You can see it because the left one didn't drop as much, but you can still see left shoulder, head, right shoulder. The right armpit is where it rejected in both 2020 and 2025. And now we're at the process of breaking out, back testing it, and going higher, right? That's where we're at right here. This is where we closed Friday, right? Even though it was a big sell-off, I think we're about to see a ripper going into April. And this is why. You can literally see how close everything looks, right? The descending resistance, it's a wedge, right? Look at 2005, it's a wedge, right? Where's the gold band? Right where we're at, right? We're fighting for it. We're a little bit outside of the descending resistance on the chart, but this is nothing more at the moment than a breakout backtest. Okay, I think this is where we're at. All right, so this is the chart. Just look how similar this looks, and I'll show you something else that looks crazy too. But I want you to look at that for now. Okay. Now, with that being said, let's look at some of the other things. Not only is the chart identical, so is the RSI and the MACD. You can see that with the left shoulder right here, it was the low of the MACD. With the left shoulder, you can see it was the low of the MACD in 2020, right? Then the head was a higher low. Then the head is a higher low, right? Then with the right armpit, where both of them, the right armpit was rejecting the green line, we got a break of the zero line, right? Break of the zero line. Then we back tested and got a right shoulder, and the MACD went red. Then once the MACD reclaimed green on the weekly, this started the major uptrend. That's what we got just a few weeks ago, right? So we're right here. That's on the MACD. Check this out. Let me show you some more. I posted this over the weekend. How about the RSIs, right? So Elliott wave, in my opinion, applies just like on RSI. You can pretty much see a big wave 2 accumulation, and then a wave 5, and then ABC, right? And ABC down to the 41 weekly RSI. What do we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ABC down to the 41 RSI. Same one, same line, right? Then we started a 5-wave structure just over here, right? Then we started a 5-wave structure right here, right? Then we got a back test of the weekly VWAP, back test of the weekly VWAP. Where is that at? Right here. Where are we at? Right there. Like, tell me that's not crazy. So not only do we have the chart having a similar algorithm, the RSI, the weekly MACD, the weekly RSI, all are identical, like almost identical. It's crazy, right? So watch this. Now let me fuck you up even more. Watch this. I'm just going to create a ghost. There we go. So this is just an overlap. You see how it's flawlessly, it's that price action. You see it? It's overlaid, right? Now I'm just going to take it over here. You see it? The pivot tree. So pivot here, pivot here, pivot here. This one ended early, but then a pivot here. And if this is the follow, look at that. It's almost flawless with this timeline. And if we were to follow it, then this big candle right here, that starts going into April. March 31st. That starts going into April, right? Then where could we be going into May and June? We could literally be $15 a share by June if this is to follow this. Now we have to, like, realistically, that's a lot of confluence. That's a lot of stuff pointing at that. A lot of stuff pointing at that, right? Check this out. Now let me show you something else. I'll show you one more thing. All right. So this major breakout happened when we broke the major breakout happened when not only did we break this green line, but we finally broke this descending ADL resistance. Do you see that? As soon as we broke the ADL resistance, off to the races, right? Okay, that was 2020. Now let me show you where we're at now. So this is crazy. Watch this. I'm gonna come over here. There was a small, I can't remember which one this is, so I'm just gonna place both demand zones. I think that's one of them. Okay. No, it was the one above that. Okay. So all of these are like little hiccups of support. Okay, there we go. So that's the one it hit. So it hit this Friday with a gap down. And even though we gapped down, it's a good daily close. And it was exactly where we needed to. All right, so now let's do the descending resistance, just like the 2020. Okay, so there you go. So we're out of room, right? This is, look at that. The end of this, if we was to trade sideways, the end of it's March 31st. When's this big move say it's going to happen? By April 1st, right? So if we break out of this descending ADL resistance, I think we are going to get a 2020 style move. Now, like, I'm not sure if we're going to get something this crazy, but we could. This was this was $3 to $60 in a year. I don't think that would happen. I'd be happy with $15 to $20, which is what my target's been. The most obvious target will be this 200-week moving average. I've showed this millions of times. Anytime we're this far away and we run into this, usually this acts as resistance. And this is around $14 a share at the moment. Not $14, sorry. $15. Let me move this. Let me put this up. Yeah, it's around $15 a share. But that's a lot of confluence, and that's the point I'm trying to make, right? Here we go. Yeah, 15-week moving average, $15 a share right there. So that's about where it's at the moment. And we could find ourselves up there fairly quickly. Like, that's too much confluence for it to just be luck. You guys have to understand that. I just pointed at like 13 things of confluence, 13 similarities of algorithmic behavior of 2020 on the chart, on the ADL line, on the weekly RSI, on the daily RSI, on the weekly MACD. Actually, I didn't even show you guys the daily RSI. Let me see if that was even anything else. Essentially, I'd have to delete this. But essentially, this looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ABC back down to 47. Let's see if there was anything over there. Yeah, 47. You see that? On the daily even. So this down candle, the low right here, RSI 47. right? Boom, RSI 47. Not only was that, look what day it was, the 22nd. What was Friday? The 21st. So the RSI on this low, on this last pullback before we went parabolic, the RSI went to 47. It was on the 22nd. Friday was the 21st. What's that low of the RSI? 47. I don't know, guys. This looks crazy. I think last week may have been a major shakeout. We'll see. I would be mind blown if all this doesn't play out. This is way too much confluence of way too much together for it to just be random. This has to play out. I believe it is. Cheers.